Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the continuation of our 2023 to 24 budget workshop. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have to have a motion to continue? All right, Lisa, Tara, the floor is yours.
Okay, so in front of you, you have the amended budget with changes that were discussed yesterday. The changes that we made were to adjust the fire department operating lines. We did a change in the allocation of funds from the deposit on a fire truck of 300,000 to 150,000, and then we also took the other 150,000 and put it into a transfer to capital reserve. And we did a decrease in the merit that's being funded to 2%. The other change that I made was that the total nonprofit requests equal 14,000. I fully funded that in the accommodation tax. That's one of the things that is open for discussion today. With all of that being done, we have excess revenue of $22,600. That so when you change anything in salaries, it changes multiple lines. So that's how we ended up with the additional surplus of revenue.
Okay. I suggest that we do the accommodation tax and the nonprofits first. That should be pretty straightforward discussion.
Fine with me. It's fine.
Yep. No problem.
So we now have the Old Bridge Historical Society for 1,000, Brunswick Family Assistance 2,500, Lower Cape Fear Life Care 2,500, Brunswick County Literacy Council 3,000, and Ingram Planetarium 5,000, which brings us up to 14,000, as opposed to what did we have yesterday?
15. Well, I had the Brunswick Family Assistance. I actually did not grab that one when I came in here yesterday, and I had said 11,000 something. But this is the accurate number. I hadn't received those until yesterday morning, so I kind of was scrambling.
What was it last year?
Last year the budget was 15,000, but we had not funded some of those, I believe, or 12,800 was our budget last year. 12,820.
We also had a change in the application requirements.
Yes.
To make it much more stringent in terms of what they had to provide to apply, and we had the attachment that showed each of the applications, and they met all the standards that you had.
Yes, I'm
put into
waiting
place.
on Brunswick Family Assistance to give me a call back. They're going to provide information showing that they do service residents in Sunset Beach. One of the requirements is that it has to have a direct benefit to our municipality because it's coming out of our budget. And that is something that the auditors can actually look at. And so that was something that I asked for each of these. I mean, the planetarium is simple because it's in our city limits. The Old Bridge, obviously, is Sunset Beach history. The Lower Cape Fear Life Care, they've actually provided the documentation that they've assisted 97 people that live within our town limits. And that's it. That's everybody.
Well, I can assure you that Brunswick Family Assistance will be able to provide that.
They said that they would.
Yeah,
yes.
one of the things that they have done in conjunction with the Committee to Honor American Veterans, American Legion Post, and the Calabash Elks Veterans Affairs Committee is to set up a veterans line, a separate line that veterans come in, their needs and assistance can be approved. And over the last 2 or 3 years, every year there have been multiple request from within Sunset Beach to support residents of Sunset Beach that are there. So, at this point,
I just wanted to make sure that it's not in this packet,
okay.
but
No,
there is,
it's good
yeah,
you-
there is communication. with
It's
them.
good you do that, but my point is, I'm confident that they can prove that.
Yeah, they said that they were.
And with that, I think we could go ahead and make a decision on this. Is there any discussion?
No, they've proved it to us, to the Veterans Committee already. They're pretty easy people to deal with, actually.
I'd like to make a motion
Yep.
that we approve the total nonprofit funding request of $14,000 for budget year 23-24.
We're
Discussion?
going to need some discussion.
Was that a second? Sorry.
Oh, second.
Okay, now discussion.
I don't. Were we going to talk about each of these? I'd like to move a little money around if we're going to stick with the 14,000.
Can we go ahead and just talk to them, go to them one at a time?
Sure.
So one thing I'd like to point out, one of the things that I always look at are administrative fees for these.
Mhm.
So for council knowledge, I went through the packet, pulled these out. Old Bridge Historical Society administrative fee is 0. Brunswick Family Assistant is 9%. Lower Cape Fear Life Care is 27%. Literacy Council is 30%, and the Planetarium is 21%.
30%.
Thank you.
30% is administrative fees. And then on
Can I just, before you go further than that, did Lower Cape Fear specify that this was for their We Honor Veterans program
Yes,
as opposed to the Lower Cape Fear overall?
that is. So they do mention the veterans in here. So they're talking about each of the services that they offer for this. It looks like they did not specify this
They
year.
didn't specify? Okay.
Mm-mm.
And so I'll also just add the Historical Society is requesting about what they did last year. Family Assistance requesting the same amount. Lower Cape Fear Life Care was 1,000. They're at 2,500 this year. Literacy Council was at 2,500 last year. They're at 3,000 this year. And the Planetarium was awarded 2,500 last year, and they're at 5,000 this year. Just for comparison's sake. So the only one that we're seeing a significant increase is the Planetarium from what they were given in the past.
What was their administrative?
They are 21%.
They typically ask for 5, and then we have adjusted it in the past.
Yeah, but if you go back several years, they had times that they were getting a lot more than that. Should be, I
Yeah.
didn't, like I said, my
We go back a
my
step.
stuff deleted, but from 5. Yeah, we've been. They go back to FY16 that they have the values put in there, and the max we gave them was 7,500. Series of years of 5,000, and then 21, 3,000, 22, 3,500, 23, 2,500.
Mhm.
Yeah, so.
And
With that in mind, do you have suggestions?
We're going to stick with the 14,000. I suggest taking 2,000 from the Planetarium, making theirs 3,000. Add 1,000 to the Literacy Council and 1,000 to Brunswick Family Assistance.
now, Tara, you said in the past that we can't give,
Yeah, we
we
wouldn't
can't
be
give more
able
than that
to.
request.
They would have to put in an amended request.
Oh,
Because so there's different reporting requirements on it. They may be not wanting to have to report different things. So because the state requires reporting from them, we require specific reporting from them. If they get a certain amount of funding from different people, then it sets them up to the next level. So they may have been strategic about what they have asked for. It would be something that we would have to reach back out to them for. I know that Old Bridge, which is why I say this specifically, they were very strategic about what they asked for because they don't have to hire an expensive auditor from the outside to come in because they really have a very limited budget. Like an external auditor, they do an internal audit, they do financial statements, they do their taxes, but once they hit over $1,000, they have to hire somebody, and so that would wipe out the money that we even gave them.
Sounds like what you're saying is definitely don't increase anything.
Without
Your
talking.
paperwork's all prepared for as it is, but if we wanted, we could take some away, but not slide it into some
Correct.
other place.
Yeah. Especially without talking to them because we don't know what their reasoning was for what they've asked for.
So much for that.
You tried.
Any other comments? Any suggestions on which ones we should cut any?
I think we should leave it as it is.
All right, we've got a motion on the table. All in favor of $14,000 for nonprofit funding, split as proposed?
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? None. All right. So if I've got my stuff correct, partly correct, I think really the next thing to do is confirm, having had a night to think about it, are we still comfortable with COLA at 7%?
Yes?
Yes. Yep. Aye.
1 no, 3?
Yeah.
4 yeses. All right. And are we still comfortable at a merit budget at 2%? I think what's not clear from your email is that in our discussion, I think the idea was we had a 2% cap. 2% is the amount of money that would be budgeted. So the supervisor would have the flexibility to go up to 3% for individuals. So the supervisor could go between 0 and 3%.
Sort of. That wouldn't be the case across the board, though. Because
No,
some
you
departments only have one person, some departments only have 2 people, so they have no opportunity to get anything above 2%, no matter what they do.
Thoughts on
How
that?
would you? Sure.
I don't know how to fix that.
I don't either.
I agree.
Unless there was
The town administrator has full discretion to make it.
So,
It depends on how you word it, I think. So if you put a cap on you can budget a specific salary amount and saying we do not want to see everybody to have a 3% across the board. We really want you to focus on this. It's funded in a specific way.
Yeah,
There's still leniency in everybody's budget. But in the one, like where they only have one, there's a lot less room. Like in the police department, there's a little bit more room because there's some part-time and there's changing in personnel.
but
So
the merit only goes for full-time, right?
what's that?
Merit goes for full-time.
Right, but you're in that same salary line, you're also funding part-time. It all goes into one funded salary line. So you can make a strong recommend. You could fund it and, please really look at these evaluations without restricting specific departments. I don't know if I'm being clear of what I'm saying.
how many departments have one person aside
So
from
my
planning?
department outside of me has 2 people, and I don't have control over what my merit is. So if I was to get the 3, neither one of those 2 people could have 3 because it's an average. And then like stormwater has 1 full-time person, and that's department head. And then admin has the town administrator and 1 person. So that super restricts administration as well. I mean, police and fire, like I said, they have a lot more leniency, so it's not going to, there's a lot more people. So there, it's just not as restricted. Even in inspections, it's 4.5, and planning's 1.5. So there are small departments that it would have an impact on.
And please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what we want is each department to have a pool of money, so to speak, and then it's up to that department head to decide how that 2% is spread out. Certainly there's inequity in a one-person department and a 27-person department. I don't know how to fix that, but is that y'all's understanding?
Yeah.
Yep. But how do you fix it? It becomes,
Well, you're the math teacher. You're the one that's supposed
I was never a math person. Can't you tell by the confusion here once in a while? I don't know what you do.
Well, in the part of the corporate world that I did spend 18 years in, you took that and you bounced it up to the next level supervisor to make decisions for all of that. Would be one.
So
So,
Ken would be the bad guy.
pardon?
So Ken would be the bad guy.
No, so Lisa would be
Lisa
the
would
bad
always be
guy.
That's right. Lisa would always be
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah. Well, so,
If we're talking about, say, two departments that would be the ones that would be potentially affected by this difference, if it comes up when we get to review time that whoever would be reviewing them, Lisa, felt that they should get a higher one, could we just do a text amendment at that time for that in particular? Because it's only two departments. Does that make any sense? Would that alleviate that issue?
Do you feel it's just two departments? Do you feel comfortable with that? I like what Jamie said, but
Like it's not too much of a burden to go through that process or to do the paperwork and the journal entries and all that other stuff.
Yeah. So if you just if the wording is that you want to fund it at 2%, we can work with it, because as the budget officer, I also have the ability to move around inside of a department as long as that department does not go way over. But if you're just saying it's funded at 2%, we can work with it.
With the adjustment to 2%, how much below budget are we now?
We have an excess of revenue of 22,600.
Okay, so what Janie suggested is one way to do it. The other way you could do it is to put in wording for single person departments that they could go up to 3%. But then you would change the overall budget. So I think maybe Jamie's idea is the best.
As Tara pointed out in her email to you all yesterday, if you put the merit at 2.5%, we're within a few $100s of the balanced budget, to where right now we're over 22,006.
but we can also balance that budget by taking whatever's left and just putting it into the general fund.
I would
Yeah.
decrease revenues.
Right.
Decrease my estimates.
To do that. The basic point of this whole discussion was the idea of merit is to reward merit, not to take and give everybody an extra 2%, 3% bonus. And last year, out of the 43 people that were eligible, 37 of them got a 3%, and 6 of them got a 2.7%, which means there's very little in terms of supervisor activity to provide incentive for performance, to differentiate within departments, and the idea is the 3% merit is not a almost 100% across the board 3% raise that goes in with the other 7%. which is that's where the question is, and that's where we're looking for some management supervision and decision making over how that bonus, that merit bonus gets put out. Am I saying that halfway correct?
No,
Correct.
that's correct.
Yeah.
You said.
And that was the idea. And the alternative way, if what Jamie has suggested, is that we go and say, just put a specific number, 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, something like that. That becomes, that's not exactly what we're trying to do in the micromanagement.
I just want to make sure that we're fair to every employee, from Lisa down to the last hired. I'm good with what Jamie said.
Yeah, I am too.
We too.
Okay. Can you
And we'll be
look-
looking at our evaluation forms to change to make it a little more strenuous
Competitive.
than it is right now.
And can you also, as this begins, maybe write up something for the department chairs to make sure they understand exactly where we're coming from and exactly what they need to do and what we're looking for? That'd be great.
So to summarize, we're going to fund it 2% with the department heads with the ability to go up to 3%, but they only have a given pot of money to work with. And then for those departments that have the problem issue of having 1 or 2 employees, that'll be run by Lisa, who, if she determines that they should warrant a 3%, that'll come to us for a budget amendment.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I would like
Right.
to add one thing. I want all of our citizens to know that I believe that everybody was rated correctly last year under the standards we were using. I can't say it enough. We have a great staff from top to bottom, and everybody works together. Perfect example is the 60th birthday. But from what we see from inside, we see this going on every day. But we need to get a handle on balancing the budget. So I think everybody that's gotten what they got deserved it.
Just reinforce that. The changing the merit, if you will, just recall it is an addition to the cost of living increase. So whether it was a 1%, a 2%, or a 3%, it's still a recognition that we're providing an extra bump in money to the staff for the performance overall. And it shows, the fact that we do that shows that the council does support the town staff. So, anything else?
No?
Okay, so
What else do we need to approve?
that's
We
it.
already approved switching 150,000 from the fire department to, looks like it went into the town council budget.
Yeah, so it's in a transfer.
Small.
It has to go in a
It's a
department.
bookkeeping, yes.
But it's a transfer from general fund to the capital reserve fund. That'll happen July 1, and we'll start that fund. It would start generating interest July 1 when we transfer it.
Okay.
So this budget is basically complete. I will adjust the revenues to balance it, and then our next meeting would be May 1st to set the public hearing for June.
Okay.
But those were the only points of discussion that we had, and
Are there any other questions?
So
So,
the general fund revenue now is at 10,025.
right. So I would adjust that by the 22,000. The revenues are estimates. And so they're based on different projections and things like that. And so I can go back through and adjust it. And honestly, the property tax revenue may come down some due to the reval anyways. So,
Okay.
but you'll have a balanced budget
Okay.
before the next meeting.
Good.
Which is the first
Then if
meeting in May.
anything, so if there's anything that's not accounted for in revenue, where will that go? Will that go into a CIP or is it going to go into where?
At the end of the year,
Yeah.
it goes into general fund.
General
And then,
Mhm.
I mean, this year's a little unique because we've had the transfers from general fund to dredging. So I'm not looking to have a huge increase in our fund balance at the end of the year.
Mhm.
But at that point, if you had received a lot of excess in fund balance, you could do a budget amendment after we knew what that amount was. Typically, we find that out in October, sometimes September. You could do a budget amendment and transfer money from fund balance to capital reserve to build that up at that time as well. Once we know what that is, we don't know for sure what that is until after the end of the fiscal year, and then once the auditor and I go through all the financial statements and assess everything. So
Okay.
there is opportunity to increase that too.
Okay. Thank you.
But we should keep a certain amount in the fund balance
Correct.
to make our audit
hmm
good. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I was just saying if you had
Mhm.
ended up with,
Yes, more.
yeah,
Good.
extra.
Okay. Any other discussion? Any other questions?
Thank you.
Do you have anything else? Do I have a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in
Second.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.